My name is Sridhar and I'm working as Informatica architect designer come developer from last 8 years. So since last 8 years I was working as a pure developer, and I have done my Informatica certification in the year 2013. So I'll be in teaching I'm working as developer come the trainer from last 4 years. So I'm having 8 years of experience, and real-time experience, and which includes 4 years of teaching experience too. So this is the short description about myself. Okay, so let's start the demo session. So before going to start the demo session, everybody, whenever they are going to learn a technology, obviously they'll have some questions, something like, so what we are going to learn. Okay, so what we are going to learn, and where exactly it is going to be used. Okay, and what is the opportunities that we are having, right? So as we are here to learn Informatica, obviously we need to get answer for all these questions. Okay, so with respect to Informatica, right? So exactly what we need to understand is what is Informatica, where it is going to be used, and what is the career opportunities that Informatica is going to have. Okay, so in between demo, if you have any questions, now, so whenever you are going to look at the answers for these questions in internet, probably you'll get two answers. That is, Informatica is an ETL tool is the first answer that you'll get, and the second answer that you'll get is Informatica is used for data warehouse. It's a data warehousing tool, simply to say. So now let us understand what is the relation between this Informatica and then ETL tool and then data warehouse. Okay, let us try to understand this puzzle. Now, to get very clear understanding about all these questions, let me start the discussion with a simple real life example. For example, let us say there is a family. Right, so there is a family where different people is present. So let me name these characters like this. Okay, if you look at these family members, the characters is, let us say, is a husband, okay, and then wife, and then son and daughter. There is different people is there in a family. Now, assume that father is the one, husband is the one who is taking care of the entire family. Okay, so he is the one who is leading the family. Now, so as he is leading the family, he might have some plans like, okay, so I need to purchase a house for the family, or else I need to purchase a car for the family, something like that. He plans something for the family, to get the better lifestyle and all. So now, let us assume that son and daughter is also working. There is a total 3 family members who is working. Okay, so as 3 members is working, they'll get a good amount of income, as well as they'll have some expenses also, right? And one more thing that we need to understand is, let us say husband and wife is staying in India together. That is, they are staying in India, and son is staying in US and daughter is staying in UK, let us. That means these people are staying in different geographical locations. Now, as a husband is the boss for the family, and as he is taking care of entire family, he would like to know what is the monthly income of the family, and at the same time what is the expenses of the family, so that he'll come to know what is the exact savings per month, and based on the savings he can plan something for the family, right? So what he done was he just given an instruction to entire family members saying that, guys, whenever a month is completed, okay, whenever a month is completed, that means every month of second, on every month of second you have to share the previous month expense details with me. That means how you spent money in the last, how much on rent, how much on food, and how much on transportation, something like that. Okay. So now, as father given the instructions, the husband given the instructions to share the expense details. So obviously we have to maintain the daily expense details somewhere. Otherwise it is difficult to sit on 30th of every month and recollecting all the expenses that what we have done from the day one of the month, right? So in order to maintain the daily expense details, wife is maintaining a simple book, a notebook kind of thing, and son is using Excel document. A daughter is using, let us say, notepad application. And if you look at the currencies, as wife is staying in India along with the husband, her all expenses is going to be there in Indian rupees. Okay, and son expenses is going to be there in US dollars as he is staying in US, and daughter expenses is going to be there in pounds. Right? Now, let us say month is completed. All family members share the expense details with the head of the family. Now, he started looking at the data, the expense details shared by all family members. So as and when he is looking at the data, he got some problems. Problems is data in different systems. That data is there in different systems. Different systems in the sense, what I mean to say is a normal notebook. Some part of data is there in notebook, some part of data is there in Excel document, and some part of data is there in notepad. That is the first problem. Second problem is different currencies. So that means part of data is there in Indian rupees, part of data is there in US dollars, and part of data is there in pounds. At the same time, availability of data. So that means as the family members is staying in different geographical locations, so it is not easy to get data from all the family members at a time. So whenever there is a daytime in US, son will send the details, and at the same time from UK, daughter will send the data in different time, and wife will give the data in different time. So he needs to wait for some time to get all the data from family members. So these are the three different problems that the husband is facing. And one more thing is, whatever the expense details is sharing by the family members, it is going to be very detailed level. Detailed level in the sense, what I mean to say is, let us say there is some common expenses like, okay, breakfast, lunch, dinner, okay, and transportation. So these kind of things, breakfast, lunch, and then dinner, next transportation. So these are some common expenses that is going to be there every day. Now, the husband doesn't want to see the expense details at every day, how much he spent on breakfast, or how much he spent on lunch, how much he spent on dinner. He don't want that detailed data. How he is expecting data is very simple. That is, in a month, on food how much, on transportation how much, on rent how much, okay, and on entertainment activities how much. So something like that. He wants to see the summarized data to get a very high level picture, like the expenses is there in the limits, or right. So for that, again, as he is receiving very detailed level data, again he needs to work on the data to summarize it as per his expectations. So let us say he is maintaining another big system, or we can say another big book, where he is expecting data something like this for each family member. Let us say this belongs to, as we are in July month, let us say June month is completed. Let us say June 16th expenses, like how the expenses from wife, same time how expenses is there from son, and how the expenses is there from daughter. So he wants very much summarized data, something like this. Wife, so how much on groceries, or okay, and how much on rent, so something like that. So he wants to understand. While coming to son, how much on food, how much on rent, and how much on transportation. Simply very high level data. At the same time, daughter also for same food, how much on rent, and how much on transportation, something like this. Okay, in order to get this kind of summarized data, again after receiving the data from family members, again he needs to do some calculations and need to put the data into this. Then only he can go and understand the data well. I'm clear so far? Okay. So now, if you look into this, whatever he is doing, this is some activity that he needs to perform on each and every month. But being a head of the family and he is having his own job or business, whatever it is, so he is very busy. So he cannot spend this much time every month on this activity, like which is needs to be done redundantly, like getting the data from family members and then converting the data as per his convenience and writing down into a book, and all these things he cannot do every month, right? So what he thought was, definitely doing the same activity every month by spending some good amount of time is not possible for me. So I need a solution. I need a solution. Then what he done was, he appointed one more person. He appointed one more person, and this character name is accountant. Accountant. Now, the instruction from father to all family members is, from now onward, don't send the expense details to me. Don't send your expense details to me. You simply send all your expense details to a new person called accountant. Okay, instead of sending me, you just send the expense details to the new person which is called account, right? And the instruction from husband to the accountant is, my family members is staying in different locations. Wife is staying with me and my son is staying in US and my daughter is staying in UK. So what they'll do is, on every month second, they'll give you some expense details. So whatever they spend on the last month, what you have to do is, you just summarize the data. That means they'll give you very detailed data, each and every penny that they spend, how they spend. So all that kind of detailed data they are going to provide you. Now what you have to do is just summarize the data. That means on food how much, rent how much, transportation how much, or shopping how much. So something like that. You just summarize that and make an entry in this book, whichever I'm maintaining from some time back. Okay. And once this activity is completed, you just let me know. Then accountant said, fine. So from now onwards, family members is not going to send data to the husband. They are directly giving the data to accountant. Now the accountant will take the data. Now he will modify the data as per the instructions given by his boss and make an entry into the book. In that book, the data is going to be in a format that is expected by the owner. So now, once this process is completed, the accountant will go on and notify the husband saying that, sir, your family expenses for last month is completed and it is readily available in the book. You just go and have a look. Now, he will directly come and look into this and he will understand, okay, who spent how much and on what. So if he feels that, okay, the expenses of son or daughter is high somewhere, let us say son is traveling around 120 miles every day to reach office and he is using his own car. So obviously maybe petrol expenses is high, then he might suggest son saying that why unnecessarily you have to travel 120 miles every day. So try to take a house near to office or else try to have a car sharing with your one of your friends so that the petrol prices might be saved. So something like that, he'll give an instruction to the family members whenever he feels that okay expenses is a little high. Okay, so is it clear? Now we'll try to apply the same scenario to a real-time business. Okay, so if we apply the same scenario to a real-time business, let us say I'm a person who wants to start a business. Okay, so as and when I thought of starting a business, I'll become the owner of the business, whatever you call like owner or CEO or anything. Okay, so I'm the owner of the business. Now, I thought of starting a retail store, okay, somewhere in, let us say, US, or else let us say somewhere in India. I thought of starting one business. So whenever I thought of starting a business, definitely customers will come every day and they'll do some purchases and all. As and when a customer came and doing some purchase, I need to generate a bill for those customers. At the same time, as a owner of the business, I will be interested in understanding how my business is going on. That means once in a month or once in a quarter or once in a year, I would like to see how the sales is going on, and out of all the product, which product is having highest demand, something like that. Okay, so I would like to understand these kind of trends in my business. Like, okay, I'm offering multiple products to the customers. Out of all the products, which products is having highest demand, and which product is having no demand, like the sales is very less. Okay, or else if I'm having multiple stores, from which store highest amount of revenue is generated, and again from each store what is the highest demanding product, something like that. I would like to analyze the trends in my business. So as and when I decided to look at these kind of trends, I need to maintain complete information about the sales that is happening in my business. Then only it is possible for me to track like what is the monthly sales or quarterly sales, whatever it is. If you guys observe, the companies frequently announce the quarterly results and annual results, something like that. So now, in order to store my daily business operations data, that means in this example sales data. Okay, so in previous example, every family member used the system which they feel comfortable, like book, whatever the Excel document, notepad and all. But when it comes to the real-time business systems, we are going to use something called database. Okay, we are going to use something called a database. Database. This is a graphical representation of a database. If you look at the databases, that means the topmost databases that we have right now is Oracle, and DB2, SQL Server, and then Teradata, MySQL, Sybase. Okay, so the list will go on because we have huge number of database products available in the market. So in a computer science terminology, a database is going to represent with a cylinder symbol. Now I have one database which I am going to use to store the sales information belonging to the store which I started in India. Okay, so now I started one store in Hyderabad, and one store in India, and the sales is going on. The business is very good. Now technically the databases whichever I am going to store the daily business operations data. That means in this example the sales data. Okay, so these kind of databases is going to be called as OLTP databases. Okay, OLTP stands for Online Transaction Processing. Online Transaction Processing. That means the databases which is going to store the daily business operations data. That means if you look at the example for OLTP systems, online ticket booking systems, bank ATMs, and the billing systems that are using at the supermarkets, everything is going to be an example for OLTP systems. That means which is supporting the daily business operations. If you go to Walmart, at the billing desk they are going to use some computer systems where they'll scan your products and generate the bill. That is one example for OLTP system, because in that system they are going to store the daily business operations. That means the sales data. Okay, in the same way, online ticket booking system. So you are going to book a ticket, and sometimes if you observe, when you are booking the system at the time of payment, if you look at the total amount that you are going to pay, ticket fare is around something and transaction charges will be there. That means when you are doing some purchase with the online systems, they have to secure your details, like whatever your name details, the place where you are traveling and all. At the same time, when you are entering your card details, that details also they have to securely maintain from the hackers and all. So they'll take some kind of maintenance charges from you in the name of transaction charges. That means whenever somebody is offering some service or product, if you are going to use that service, that means you are going to do a transaction there. If you look into the dictionary, the clear meaning for transaction is it's an activity of buying or selling where money is involved. Right? So if you look at any business, just they are going to offer some service or product, and being users, we are going to just purchase that service or product. So everything is going to be called as a transaction, and in our daily lives we are going to do multiple transactions in a day. Right? So the databases which is going to store this transaction data is going to be called as OLTP database. Okay, now I started one store in India which is running very well, and I'm getting very good amount of sales. I'm very happy. Now as my business is going very well, I thought of expanding my business. So as part of expanding my business, what I have done was I started one more store, okay, in US. Let us. I started one more store in US. Start one more store in US, and I'm maintaining one more database which is going to be called as OLTP in US also. So it is going to store the information about the sales happening in US store, and I started one more store in UK. Let us. So I have 3 stores now. One store is in India, one store is in US, and one store is in UK. This is also going to be a OLTP system, as it is also storing the daily business operations data. Now if you look at, obviously, currency of Indian business is going to be there in Indian rupees, and the currency of US store sales is going to be there in US dollars. At the same time, when it comes to UK, it is going to be there in pounds, British pounds, right? And the database systems that I'm using is, in India, I'm using Oracle database for the daily business operations data, and in US, I'm using SQL Server database, and in UK, I'm using DB2 database. So there is no restriction regarding databases. Based on the resource availability and the business requirement, we can go and use any kind of databases for OLTP. We have wide variety of databases. Okay, now my all three stores business is very good. Okay, and being a owner of the business, I'm very happy. But after some time, I thought of analyzing my business. Something like, what is the total amount of revenue that is generated from all the three stores? What is the revenue generated from all the three stores, and what is the revenue of each individual store? Okay, and what is the highest demand product in all the three stores? So I want to get some kind of knowledge about my business. But whenever I started looking at this kind of data, I got some problem. Like, however, in this example, the father is having some difficulties, like data is there in different systems, different currencies, and availability of data. In the same way, as and when I come to this example as a owner of the business, when I started looking into three stores information, I have some problem. The problems is, first one, data in different databases, and next one is, obviously, currencies is different, and then data availability. As the time zones is different, we cannot access all the OLTP systems at a time because of the geographical differences. Whenever one store is out of operations, maybe other store is operating. So whenever the OLTP systems are open for customers, so we cannot go and touch those databases, right? So I'm having these problems. But being a owner of the business, I would like to understand the trends in my business. Then I can plan something better and increase the profits or whatever it is. So I'm in a big trouble now, being a owner of the business. Then what I did was, simply I called a few people from different companies. As and when it is all about databases and all, definitely this is some problem with respect to IT related things, right? So then I called a few people, arranged a meeting. Okay, so let us say these are the different executives from different IT companies. Then I started explaining, being a owner of the business, okay, I started explaining my problem to these guys. So I'm explaining my problem like this. Guys, thank you so much for coming here. So let me explain you my problem. The problem is, I'm having business which is operating in 3 different locations. Okay, so as the 3 different locations is there, the currencies is different, the database systems I'm using is different, and the operational timings is also completely different. Now, I would like to analyze my business. But because of these difficulties, like different operational timings and the different currencies and the different databases, okay, I am not able to properly analyze my business, and it is becoming very tough for me. So, can you guys suggest any solution for me? As and when I said, so the IT executives is there. So one of the IT executives said, sir, absolutely, yes, we have a solution for you. Then I asked that guy, can you tell me what is the solution? So let us say he is the one who said, sir, yes, I have a solution. Then I said, okay, very good. Could you please explain me what is the solution that you have? Then he started explaining the solution. Sir, simple. The problem is, you're having a business which is operating in 3 different areas and 3 different databases you have. Of course, as the geographical locations is different, the currencies is also different, right? Yes, I said yes. As a owner of the business, I said yes. Now, the solution suggested by this guy is simple. See, the purpose of the databases whichever you are maintaining so far is different. Purpose of those databases is to just run your daily business operations. So leave these databases for their daily business operations. Why you are going and touching those databases in the middle for analysis, something like this. So instead of touching those databases, we'll do one thing. We'll design one more databases which is big in size. We'll design one more database. Okay. Now what we do is, you just relax. You don't take any trouble. You just relax. What we do is, we will go and get data from all the 3 different databases. Okay, so you just leave this headache on us, like when those systems are available, how we will get the data, when we will get the data, all those things. You just relax. So you tell us only one thing: how exactly you want to see the data, your business data. You want to see the quarterly sales or monthly sales, which product is having highest demand from each store, or which product is having highest demand from all the stores, and you want to understand like which type of customers is visiting your store mostly. Just you let us know what you want to see. That's it. So what we do is, we will go to the different operational systems, that means the different OLTP databases, and we'll take the data and we are going to modify this data as per your requirements. That means however you want to see the data in this new database, as per that we will convert the data. That means, let us say there is 3 different currencies present: US dollars, British pounds, and Indian rupees. Now you want to see the data in British pounds or US dollars or Indian rupees, whatever you want. So you just let us know. So as per your requirement, we are going to modify the data, and finally we'll keep the data into the new database, and the name of the new database that we are going to design is nothing but data warehouse. We're going to call this new database as data warehouse. The reason is simple: warehouse in the sense a place where we can store huge amount of quantity of whatever the goods and all. But in this new database, we are going to store huge amount of data. So as it is supporting huge amount of storage, we can call it as a warehouse, and as we are going to store data, we can call it as data warehouse. So that is what he said simply. So we are going to take the data and we are going to convert the data, and we are going to keep that into the new database, which is going to be called as data warehouse. Now, being a owner of the business, what you have to do is, when this process of collecting data from all these operational systems and keeping into data warehouse is completed, now we'll just notify you saying that, sir, data is ready. Now what you'll do is just directly come and look into the data warehouse to see and understand how your business is going on. So are you happy now? Then I said, excellent man, the solution is fine, I'm happy. But who will take care of this process? Just to go back to the previous this family example, there is a person called accountant who has taken the responsibility of getting data from all family members, then converting and keeping into new book. But as and when if you come to the new example which we are discussing, it is a real-time scenario. They are small family, just limited records, limited data, so a person is able to handle manually. But when it comes to enterprise business, real-time business cases, every day you might get some millions and billions of transaction data. If you look at the the business giants like Walmart and all. So manual process doesn't work here. Then, being a owner, I just expressed a doubt about the solution. The solution is looking good, but who will take care of this entire process? Then again, the IT executive started explaining something like this. Sir, simple. See, the process we are going to follow is, see, simple. What we are doing is, first, we are taking the data from all these 3 operational systems. So we are going to call this particular process as extracting the data. And after extracting the data, we are going to modify the data as per your requirements. We are going to call this process as transformation. And finally, the transformed data, that means whichever is ready for analysis, is going to be kept into the new database, which is called data warehouse. We are going to call this process as a loading. Now, if you go and observe the first character of the process that we are going to perform, that is nothing but extraction E, transformation T, and then loading L. So that means the process we are going to perform is going to be called as ETL process. The process we are performing is nothing but ETL process. And yes, we have good number of tools available in the market which is going to perform ETL process. So we don't need bother about who will go and get the data, who will transform that, and who will load and all, because we have a number of ETL tools which is available in the market. And out of all these ETL tools, okay, Informatica is there in #1 position as of today. So this is the big picture about the Informatica. So Informatica is an ETL tool which is used to build data warehouses. That is why as and when we are searching about Informatica in the web, we will get different answers like it is a tool, it is an ETL tool, or it is a tool for data warehouse, something like that. The reason behind this is this one. ETL is a process that is performed to build data warehouses, right? So if you ask me the question like, okay, you are saying that there is many ETL tools available, but Informatica is #1. Why? So technically, I cannot speak much at this time because as you people is not much aware of Informatica. But yes, when compared to other ETL tools, Informatica is having its own, what I can say, positive points. And if you guys, I'm not sure how many of you is aware of this. So there is a company called Gartner's. Just give me one moment. So there is a company called Gartner's. Okay, so if you just go and see the Gartner, so this is a technology research company which is operating based on US. So what this Gartner will do is they don't develop any products, or they don't work on any consulting kind of thing. The only thing that Gartner will do is they'll take all the tools available in the market, like let's say databases. They'll take all the databases and they will perform some kind of research on databases, and they'll give the ranking. This is the best database, and this is the next best database, this is the next best database, something like that. In the same way, they'll take all the ETL tools available in the market, they'll do some research, and they'll give the ranking. Something like, okay, Informatica is the best ETL tool, and after Informatica, DataStage is the next best ETL tool. After that, Ab initio is the next best ETL tool. So they'll give some graph like this. So the graph is going to be called as magic quadrant. Now, if you see, just Google, let me type here, Gartner's magic quadrant as a quadrant for ETL tools. So as Informatica is ETL tool, let's go and have a look at this one. See, if you look at, this is a Informatica website. So just give me one moment, it's loading. Yeah, see. So this is Informatica official website. They are proudly announcing that Informatica positioned as a leader for 10th consecutive year. So this is a graph. If you observe, see, Informatica is there at the top end, right? So see, Informatica positioned as a leader for 10th consecutive year. That means Informatica is not positioned as a leader for just 1 or 2 years. It is there as a leader from last 10 years continuously. So for that, getting this leader position, yes, Informatica is having its own technical strengths, which is not there in other ETL tools. Okay, the development features or the security features or the kind of user friendliness that it is having, and all those things makes the Informatica as a leader. And now Informatica is just become a big data edition. That means if you're going to start working with a Hadoop, there is no need of having any Hadoop knowledge and all. So you simply in Informatica itself, you will design everything and you can load data into Hadoop systems, and you can get the data also from Hadoop systems. Right? So this is the brief introduction about Informatica and all. So this is where exactly Informatica is going to take its role in an organization and all. So that means wherever some business analysis is required, organizations prefer to go with the data warehouse, and data warehouses is possible with ETL process, and ETL process is possible with ETL tools. And as of today in the market, yes, there is no doubt about it, Informatica is one of the best ETL tools that we have so far. Okay, so yes, this is the brief introduction about Informatica and all, and this is the demo session.